Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by the York Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information on the local real estate market, presented by leading experts in the field.
Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. I'm Morgan York with the York Group of Downing Fry, and today we're joined with our host Jim York and his guest Donald Ross Jr., President and CEO of Ross Title and Escrow.
Thank you, Morgan, for the introduction. Well, Don, thank you for coming on the
Thanks
show today. Talus Park has given us the opportunity today to film our show here. Let's tell our viewers a little bit about yourself. I know a lot of people don't know about you, so.
I'm a local Naples attorney, been here since approximately 1985, practicing law since '81. Tax lawyer, real estate attorney, attorney for Downing Fry Realty. Been doing closings for 40 years or so. Own Ross Title and Escrow. We have 8 employees. We do a fair number of closings. We try to return our phone calls. That's one of my pet things. Be responsive to the clients, and they keep us busy.
Yeah, I know.
For sure.
They've been very good to us with our clients too.
Absolutely.
So, Don, the big topic today that you wanted to talk about was hurricanes, right? We're going into the hurricane season, or we're already in the hurricane season, and we want to talk about how our buyers or sellers can be prepared for dealing with this. Hopefully we don't have one.
It's an interesting time. We're still post Irma. We had Elsa recently, a tropical storm, a little test run for sellers, buyers. We try to plan on a practical level. The silly little things like get the yard ready, get the house ready. Us personally, there's some things you have legal liability for. If you have any dead trees, things that could become projectiles in high winds, you need to take care of that. We were having our trees trimmed with coconuts yesterday. Loose tiles on roofs, that's a common issue with sellers. You want anything loose that would be foreseeably a missile in high winds, you could be sued over. I go beyond that, and again, we had our gutters checked recently.
That's right.
Make sure everything is watertight, which is why I liked actually having the test run storm that we went through. Plan for both being here and having to get out of the state. I live on Marco Island. We're a low area. With COVID going on, getting reservations elsewhere could be problematic, never mind during a hurricane or a tropical storm. So, we're actually planning for hunkering down, on Marco Island, but, I also, have all the vehicles gassed up, and if in a hurry like I did with Irma, we were able to get out of Florida.
How about, not to interrupt you there, but I just got a thought about, you live in a single family home. So,
right.
So some places, we're in a condo or a villa that the homeowners association is taking care of. Who would be responsible for loose debris there if their maintenance is done by the homeowners association? Or another second question follow up to that would be is, a lot of people are still putting on roofs on their houses, and their tiles could be up there before they install the roof. Who would be liable? Who would be liable for that? Would it be the roofer? Would it be the homeowner? Or would it be the homeowners association? And then after you answer that, I'll give you a couple other follow-ups.
All good questions. Starting with the condominium and the homeowners association, they are liable for the common elements. And of course, you own an undivided interest in the common elements. And a lot of them have procedures in place on how you have to remove certain items from your lanai. You gotta, if you're not there, make sure your hot water heater, the water to the unit is shut off. If you have a neighbor down here, if you're up north and you have a neighbor down here, you might call and make sure everything's secured. Hopefully they did that when they left.
Exactly.
For the summertime. I know with Irma, a number of realtors who are running around locking up condos and having shutters,
put
installed.
On. Yep.
So all of those, with the HOAs, you make sure they, if they inquire, do they have a plan? What is the plan? What are the rules? Follow it. You want an emergency contact person, somebody who's actually going to be here. I mean, I'm in a single-family home, but across from the JW Marriott, so I mean, I had people at the Marriott I could call and check on my home. So you want a contact person, and aside from that, I guess the second question was people who are building roofs, putting in new roofs.
Right.
Who is liable? Ultimately, it's the homeowner. I mean, if somebody gets hurt, I guarantee the defendants will include the homeowner, the contractor, anybody who had any touch to that transaction is added. That's the mindset of a litigator. The builder who's installing the roof, would have liability to the homeowner, but the primary person who's liable is the person who hired the roofer.
Exactly right.
So, if I owned a house and I had a new roof in process, I would certainly be both on the phone, and I would have emails. Being an attorney, people have convenient memories. So, what are the security safeguards you are implementing relating to those tiles that are just sitting there on the roof? Can you imagine in a 140 mile an hour wind what would happen to those things? The different elements of negligence. One of them includes, is this event foreseeable? Is it foreseeable that in a 140 mile an hour wind, a tile sitting loosely on a roof would go flipping through the air?
Right.
Of course. I mean,
exactly.
Absolutely. So, and if they fail to act, I would, and I'm not really, honestly, I wouldn't know. You have a construction background. What would you do with all these things sitting on the roof? But whatever safeguards they have, you want to implement. In terms of, and I don't know whether you want to go, do you want to go into the contract?
Yes, I do. That was my follow-up one.
Okay. We've been together so long, I guess we're reading each other's minds. You get to, we both have the Naples Board of Realtors contract, we have the Florida Association of Realtors, Florida Bar contract, and I call it FARBAR, that's the acronym. The seller has responsibility to maintain both properties, the properties under both contracts up until closing. So sellers need to do, take pictures, get their declaration page ready. That's our mutual friend Chris Mitchell, again, the insurance agent. That's one thing people tend to forget. Who do you call if there's a claim? But you want to know as a seller what your insurance covers. What is your deductible, and take steps to safeguard the property, because the liability is on you up till closing. And if I'm a seller, I would try to close early. So I can dodge that liability.
Right.
If I were a buyer flipping it around, I would try to delay the closing, because the risk of loss and the maintenance is on the seller. Now, under the Naples contract, after Irma, they capped the landscape liability that the seller would normally incur under the normal maintenance clause to 1% of the sales price. So it's not unlimited like it used to be. So that's a small safeguard. But still, if you have a dead tree or something that could theoretically cause an issue with, say, your neighbor's property, I removed a 75-foot Australian palm 2 weeks ago. It was alive.
Right.
I know if that thing fell, there's a good chance it would have fallen on the very expensive home next to my house. So I cut it down.
Right.
Things like
that.
Common
right.
sense.
Common sense stuff.
Buyers, I really push them to, if there's any way to delay the closing, please do so, because the responsibility to maintain the place is on the seller. Let them worry about it. Have your inspection. You always push for the inspection. Take photos. You want to establish the condition of both the inside, the outside, the attic, the landscaping beforehand, and have that same inspection company do the walkthrough,
Right.
prior to closing. And in the Naples Board of Realtors contract, there's an additional walkthrough post-casualty. Because in the Naples Board of Realtors contract, we don't have an act of God clause. We have a clause, where if the weather is really, really bad and essential services are unavailable to the seller or the buyer, the closing can be delayed up to 30 days. But you have, they put a provision in the contract that after that, whatever bad weather event happens to be, that they can have an additional inspection post-casualty or post-storm, post-hurricane, and see if there was any damage to the property. So having an inspection company gives you a point of reference.
How about insurance? Okay, and I know you're not in insurance, but I've had Chris on the show that's our insurance agent. One thing is that they should have their policy in hand prior to the, so they don't lose it or it doesn't get wet. One of my clients said they went to a seminar and they said, put it in your dishwasher, all your personal stuff.
Really?
Hopefully they don't run the dishwasher.
I would be.
The other thing is that on insurance, sometimes they put a hold on issuing any insurance during any major storms. So how can that affect, per the contract, a closing on a particular home for a buyer or a seller?
It delays the closing. And NABOR has a clause that delays the closing if insurance is unavailable.
Okay.
Unavailable. Again, up to 30 days, 5-day increments. If I remember, our mutual friend again encourages people to get their binder right away.
Yep.
And there's pros and cons. Yes, you want it right away. But depending on which side
you're on,
part of me, yes, I want them insured, but part of me, the ultimate insurance is the seller is liable to maintain the property.
Right.
So, in this particular market where listings are so low and sellers are ruling the world, our buyers might be compelled to close early with these early closings. So yes, day one you get your binder. But if there's any conceivable way to delay the closing once the contract is signed, and a lot of times there's a title issue that drags things out. I mean, it's quite common to have a small title issue that's going to require a quitclaim deed or an affidavit from somebody or some probate documents, because what people don't get, even my lovely wife who's had to listen to me babble all these years, each state in this country might as well be a different country. I mean, it really, the way things are done in Florida and the way things are done in Georgia or New York or Connecticut or New Jersey, radically different. Radically different. So they don't understand that, and they think it's going to be the New York way down here, and it's not.
It's not.
So back to our situation, you're dealing with people from all over. If you can just get them to settle down, and if you're on the seller side, you'd like to accelerate the closing, get your money and run. If you're on the buyer side, you get your binder, but I would have the binder, and then if there's some minor title issue, delay the closing, so it's like a double layer of protection. But you want the insurance just in case you don't have the title defect. And when you sit down with your clients, it's pages 6 and 7 of the Naples Board of Realtors contract. You got that insurance clause that delays closing. You have the bad weather clause. The FAR contract, the statewide contract, you have the force majeure, they use the French, and it does the equivalent thing. It delays the closing until things settle down, but inspections. Look at the limits on the landscaping, the things to make your home safe. I mean, I could just look at our own house. We've added gutters. We cut down the 75-foot tree, which was perfectly fine, but still it's getting too darn tall. We added a generator to the house because we just don't know. Are you going to be stuck here, or can you leave? You have gas in the cars, and communicate with your people down here. I mean, I would get into conversations with people I had one gentleman from Germany who was insistent on closing like right away, and this is right before, the day before Irma.
Right.
And he didn't quite get the concept that the seller is responsible for maintaining the property, and it's to his benefit to drag it out, which we ultimately convinced him to do. Communication with your people and understanding those provisions both in NABOR and FARBAR. You get delays if insurance isn't available, if there's in bad weather, if essential services, NABOR added essential services, if which would be, if my office is closed or if the bank is closed. I mean, you got 120-mile-an-hour winds, nobody's in any office. The people would be doing the closing. That's an essential service. The banks would be closed. That would delay the closing up to 30 days, after which either side can cancel, which in this market would be interesting because I would see sellers canceling because they can turn around and sell it to somebody else for more money. So it's really odd, for you and I, things that have been in the contract all these years that might be an opportunity even for the seller. If things are delayed, I'll cancel before the buyer closes.
Well, Don, I think we covered a lot for our viewers today, and I appreciate
Not too much?
Not too much, not too much,
Okay.
not too little. So,
Okay.
but I appreciate you coming on the show
thanks
today.
for having
and
me,
I
Jim.
appreciate our viewers tuning in today, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much.
Thinking of buying or selling a home in Naples, Marco Island, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Think of the most experienced York Real Estate Group, associated with the #1 brokerage in Southwest Florida, Downing Fry Realty, which produces yearly real estate transactions of over $1 billion. Jim, Michael, and Morgan make up the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty, with over $275 million in sales transactions, along with offering over 25 combined years' experience in the local market. The Yorks can offer the experience and trust you need in a realtor. Call them today at 239-273-6727 or visit their website at www.naplesyorkrealestate.com.
Looking for a real estate closing agent in Southwest Florida? Ross Title and Escrow has over 25 years experience and has closed over 20,000 residential real estate transactions. Donald Ross Jr., president of Ross Title and Escrow and a practicing attorney in the state of Florida with a degree in taxation, is here to service your needs. Call Mr. Ross or one of our 4 closing agents for a free consultation today.